Hello, everybody. How are you doing? We'll play for a minute. So welcome. This is our weekly live stream we do because we're crazy puppies. So this is Electric Dreams. This is the last library we did. Drums, electric guitars, and bass. I can even go into the drum groove, which is right here. And I have the knob for changing its pattern. Are you working? Oh, I'm down here on other. I separated it out. I see what I did. So we won't change the pattern. So my name's John Lehmkuhl. Welcome. I own a website called PLUGINGURU.com. Let me do my little promotion moment here. Get my website up. We have, for some reason, I have two monitors of two different resolutions. My mouse keeps always locking up. It's very frustrating. If anybody has tips on two monitors with different resolutions and why they would lock up. Anyway, I have a sale going on at the site. It's email only, so you need to join the mailing list if you want to get in on these types of sales. But I will tell you what it is. Through Sunday night, if you go to the products page, if you add any product, let's say we wanted to add chill guitar phrases, and we go to checkout, if you put into the discount code 20 bucks off rocks. How's that for a promo code? That will save you $20. Apply. This discount code is invalid. Okay. This is what I was curious about. This is why I test this on these things sometimes. Did I forget what my... Let's see here. 1 second here. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so here. What was my promo code? I'm always setting up different promo codes. See, here we go. $20 off rocks. Oh, not bucks. Sorry, $20 off rocks. If you use that promo code, boom. Get the right promo code. So through Sunday night, $20 off rocks is in effect. And the power tip is to use it to buy one library at a time. That way you apply $20 off on each library. If you add 3 libraries to the cart and then you do this, you'll save $20 on buying 3 libraries. But if you do it one at a time, you get $20 off each library. So we had a whole bunch of you are maybe new to Unify. And so I thought, why not have a weekend sale? So let me go over to YouTube and see if we have anybody even watching. I don't have my chat up and running here, so let's go over here. I hope you are all doing well. We are post-Thanksgiving. There we go. Good. There's people here. Yay. Welcome. Welcome to you all. Good to see you. Lane, Fred, Kasaka in Japan, where it's 5 in the morning. You're amazing to do this. Like for years, Kasaka-san has been here at 5 in the morning. Arigatou gozaimashita. Domo. Okay, so there's a lot to cover today. I found 2 free plugins that I didn't even mention. There's a new FM synth. Fred Nongat, you see in the chat, he has a library that we're releasing next week for the GX80 from Cherry Audio. I have a library I'll show you in a minute that's using these incredible meditation bowls. I guess it'd be called bowls more than bells. That's beautiful. Really, really cool. But we're going to start with something kind of cool. We've been kind of quiet, for 4 years. There was like rampant development, update after update after update, new things happening, and it's been kind of tapered down and gotten a little maybe quiet a little bit. There's some reasons for that, and we've been working behind the scenes on some things that we want to share with you today. So to start with, I'm going to go over here and drag over a screen with my two dear friends. You guys know on top, there's Shane. Make sure you guys unmute your mics. Shane, and below is Paul. Paul Carter. You guys are going to get to know Paul very well in the coming years, I think, because we have included him in the development of Unify. And are you there, Shane?
I'm here.
There we go. Everybody give a big shout out to Shane. Shane wrote all of the code that's in Unify. Unify started as kind of it started on an iPad. and it's called Guru Studio, but the iPads weren't strong enough. And I went, if only we could do this on the Mac. And Shane goes, we can. I went, what? And actually, it started before then when Logic crashed as far as their bug fixes for the keyboard in the environment. And Shane made a MIDI effect that we see every week in the live stream. The show MIDI was the first thing that Shane created so that you could see the keys. Because it used to be years ago, 6-7 years ago, in Logic, they had a keyboard. And so you could see what keys I'm playing. And then that broke. And Shane's just one of these fix-it guys that like, hey, you need this. So he sent it to me, and then I said, can I share it with Guru Nation? And he said, sure. And so that started the adventure that is to where we are today. So how are you doing?
Doing great.
You look great. And Paul, how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been an interesting adventure to get to today. And so I think at this point, I'm going to let Shane kind of jump in here and explain the announcement that we have.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think people know that for some time I've been working on a Unify version 2 and keep collecting all the long list of requests
pages
that we had.
And pages.
Don't know if everything's going to get in there, but a bunch of things are going to get in there. And that's kind of the biggest reason why things went kind of quiet, because we didn't want to be even announcing it until we knew that, something was going to happen. And then just recently, something unexpected happened in my life, which is that I heard about a job opening that someone had in Ottawa, which is near me, near to where I live now, which looked very interesting. It's with a company that does scientific instruments for oceanography. And they were looking for a manager of firmware, which is firmware being software that's embedded in tiny little chips, which is something that I've done in a previous life. And so, I applied just kind of for fun. And they were very interested. Cut to move forward very quickly, 3 months. I have been there for 3 months. Well, move forward more than 3 months, but about 4 months. I have been there for 3 months working, doing this full time. And it's a wonderful opportunity. I was kind of astounded that at age 63 that I would be offered a chance to return to the world of ordinary work. But this is now going back to when this whole adventure started. I thought, well, these people seem very nice and they seem very interested and so on. But what about John? What about the Guru Nation, etc.? What are we going to do about that? So I reached out to my friend Paul here, who's in the stream. You may know him as Wave Sequencer, which is kind of his music industry cool music guy by night name. And Paul and I we were just reminiscing about that. We've actually been in touch on and off for about 2 years or so. And because so Paul is a developer of Hyperion, a very sophisticated software modular synth. And I was always very interested in it, and so we kind of got in touch. We got chatting. We had a nice video call at one point, and realized we had a lot of things in common, a lot of common interests, and so on. And we're chatting from time to time. And then Paul was instrumental in helping with a major problem that arose with Unify when Apple brought out their Apple Silicon. I was able to get Unify working on Apple Silicon fairly quickly, but then we were really surprised to find out that people who bought the most expensive of the Apple Silicon Mac Studios with the Max chips and so on, we're saying, oh, this is not working well. This is working poorly. So Paul and I happened to be kind of chatting about that at the time, and I realized that he was doing something already, a kind of a mitigation for that problem in Hyperion, which is also highly multi-threaded, very, very sophisticated piece of programming. So anyway, he kind of walked me through it and helped me figure it out, which was absolutely fantastic. So that made it into Unify and really got us around that issue. So and then we've been just back and forth ever since. But so when the situation came up where it's like, well, I've got something new to do that is going to take up a lot of my time, not all of my time, but a lot of my time. Who can take over the development of Unify, specifically Unify 2?
Yeah.
And I racked my brains, and I thought, I know of only 2 people in the world that I would trust with this. And one is a guy who used to work on the Juice team in the UK. There's a strange sort of UK connection to this whole thing, because everybody seems to be either from Germany or the UK in this business. But unfortunately, he's not simply not available. But Paul was available and was very interested, and so this is what happened. I kind of approached him and said, "This is the situation. Would you be interested in coming in and helping? I won't be completely gone, but I need to move to the back of the picture a little bit." And I've, of course, ever since anything changed, I've been still helping John getting libraries together and so on. That part of it hasn't changed. You folks have seen me in the sometimes in the live stream, although less so lately, just because I've been busy. But I have tended to still jump in on the forum and answer a lot of questions on the forum. I'll continue to do that because I really like to keep my finger on the pulse of what people are doing. So basically, the announcement is that Unify 2 is coming in 2025. It's in very capable hands with Mr. Carter.
Yes, it is.
And or Wave Sequencer. And he and John are also planning some really interesting stuff. Coming a little bit later, which we're probably not going to talk about right now, right?
Not too much.
So and that's about it.
Yeah. So Paul, you want to give everybody a little introduction? It's funny. Tim Dale is one of our prolific library creators. He's made libraries for Omnisphere, libraries for Unify. There's a new library coming out in January for Unify that's incredible. And he just bought Hyperion this week.
Wow. What a coincidence.
So it's a great coincidence because So give us a little background. What's our story?
I mean, it's a long story. My background, been around for quite a while now, getting old. But I started getting into synthesizers in my teens, and after saving up, delivering newspapers for a long time, I bought myself a wave station, which is something that John contributed patches to,
Yeah.
as well as many of the
And
other
wave
people that he
sequences.
knows. Yes. And yeah, that really got me interested into it. And it's kind of what steered me down the path of electronic engineering and music technology in general. And for many years, I worked in embedded software development, not in the music capability, but in terms of embedded radio receivers and transmission equipment. And after a few years in Hong Kong, I had a chance to move over to the US. And I did a few embedded support jobs and driver development jobs at Intel, and eventually transitioned into their advertising group. And they asked me to develop a modular synthesizer for interactive displays. This was an opportunity I grabbed because I was very interested in sound synthesis through my background, but I hadn't really done any sound synthesis programming since college. But I told them that, I was an expert on this stuff, so they should hire me.
Yeah.
And, a month later, I found myself searching around to find out what kind of tools were out there, what kind of APIs I could use. And I found Juice, and I started developing the most basic kind of synthesizer, which just generated a sine tone, and took it all from there. And eventually I developed a modular system that runs in Unity, not Unify, Unity, the game engine. And we use that at Intel on our interactive displays to make generative music that responds to user input, where you could drive the music through camera tracking of hand movements or people. And yeah, I did that for a number of years, and I really learned a lot about Juice and how to write complex modular sound code in Juice, and how to make GUIs. And at one point, I thought that I was going to need to leave Intel at that time, and I decided I'd better make a product to show off my skill set for the things that I'd learned at Intel. And so that's when I started working on Hyperion, and I went to the NAMM show and took my laptop and showed everybody I could grab, hey, check out my synthesizer. I think you should sell it for me. And eventually found the guys at Traction, and they took it on and put it on their marketplace. And about a year later, it was commercialized. And yeah, it's been about 2 years now that I've been working exclusively on Hyperion and Taya and other plugins that I'm currently in development. And during that time, that's when I got to know Shane, and we've been in touch from time to time. And it's great to know Shane, and it's a fantastic opportunity to work on Unity, which I've also been following for a long time as well.
Funny thing here, by the way, just want to jump in and let you know. So Woody Piano Shack has
I saw that
into the chat saying, "Sounds interesting, Shane. Previously, I worked in oceanography and underwater acoustics." And he's another Brit, so it's just like it's everybody's connected.
Oceanography, man, that's for well, I guess they say that we know less about the underwater world than even space in some respects, right? So there's a lot of exploring to go. A lot of ways.
Definitely. And, a lot of the work that this company does is or with I should say that the scientists who use this company's products for is all related to global warming and to climate change generally, and so on. So
just studying the changes,
it feels like something good to do.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful cause. It's a great opportunity. And we all understood this has been just the most beautiful organic transition to have. Paul is someone that actually he's on the radar with a number of other synthesizer companies, and so we're really lucky that he has committed himself to working with us. And so I'm really thrilled that he's part of the team. And Shane is still in the background, but as you understand, he doesn't have the time to put into solving the big problems that we want to do for Unify 2 and so forth. And that's where Paul is going to definitely come into play. Now, at the NAMM show, Paul and I are going to both be down at the NAMM show. We'll be walking around a little bit on Friday at the show, but just there's another event happening at the same time. If you search online for Buchla and Friends 2025, you will find information about the location where I think they've got, isn't it like over like 200 or 300 different manufacturers now? It's a fairly decent number of companies.
Yeah, it's maybe about 100 people, companies.
Yeah.
It's going to be much bigger than last year. Last year we just had a single level of an old warehouse. This year it's going to be a little bit more professional,
Right.
2 levels in a studio,
Right.
and it's a 2-day event rather than a 1-day event this time.
Right.
And it's free to attend. You can just get your tickets on Eventbrite. They do want people to get the tickets so that they can get an understanding of how many people will be there.
Yeah, if you
You know,
can.
in terms of catering and
Right.
services that they need to provide. So if you can, get your tickets on Eventbrite
Right.
and look for Buchla and Friends 2025.
Right. So
And
yeah, I
I'll be
won't.
posting a link on my Discord for the
Yeah.
for the tickets.
Yeah. So Plugin Guru will not be displaying at the NAMM show. In the past, we've worked with Ilio, and they've shared some of their booth space with us very generously. But because of these things happening, it just made sense to bring everything in-house. So we are no longer distributing Unify through Ilio to other stores. So the only place to get Unify is at pluginguru.com. And Saturday and Sunday, Paul and I will be sharing a table at the show, the Buchla and Friends show. The NAMM show's gotten so expensive. Tickets are just through the roof to get. To display there is very expensive. And so Buchla and Friends, they're kind of keeping an eye on kind of like the super booth kind of vibe and collective and how everybody just hangs out and shares what they're working on. Headphones only, so it won't be that people scream over each other. It's going to be a really, really lovely event. Unify 2 in some form will be there, so you can see what we've been working on. There's other things Paul and I will have to share at the time then that we're not going to talk about right now, but there's some really exciting things happening. And so we're very excited for this transition, and it's definitely a rocket boost to what we're doing. So I'm very excited. Thank you for being on the team, man. I appreciate it, Paul.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting, and it's great to get to know you. We've been in touch for a few months now,
Yes.
just to familiarize ourselves with each other and
Yes.
make a plan.
Yes.
And I think it's a good plan. I think it's going to work out very well.
It
And
is.
Shane is there to back me up. He's
Yes.
not going away.
Yes.
I'm not going anywhere.
The
He's
Godfather
been
is
super
still at the
helpful.
head of the table.
Just try to get rid of me.
And yeah, so Shane, thank you for your support.
Yes.
There's a lot to pick up, but Shane is there to help.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a smooth transition because we're going to have Shane available to
Yes.
help answer questions. And
Yeah. You have to realize Unify is kind of like writing MIDI effect, audio effect, instruments, data management, all the, a lot of these companies that make these little $39 plugins and stuff, they're making just like an instrument, just like a small piece of the pie that is the whole plugin world. And Unify kind of tackles all of it. And so it was a big undertaking in the first place that Shane knocked out of the park. And so, and Paul has a lot. If there's some things, if you guys aren't familiar with Hyperion, you should check out what it can do. It is.
there's a lot of crossover in the kind of things that we needed to know how to do.
Yeah.
In terms of the plugin development, I myself also developed all of the plugin by myself, graphics,
Right.
user interface, audio coding, and
It's a
multi-threaded
very, very
processing.
deep ocean.
There's a lot of crossover between the two products.
Yeah.
The main difference is the hosting versus just being a synthesizer.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different world really with Unify, but there's a lot of crossover in terms of coding, understanding, and knowledge, and
Right.
I think that's going to be really helpful too.
I love some of the
Really good
generative things you were showing me. I got to, when I went to San Francisco a couple months ago to see my daughter, I went down to San Jose and spent some time with Paul. And he was working on these generative Hyperion patches for someone that was commissioning him for these, where you would it would start an ocean scene and all these things would be happening. Really inspiring, really. I was like blown away. So we have someone that swam in deep waters joining us, and so it's not like he has to like go to school and like learn. He's already in those waters, using them in different ways. So it's really, really just like if you were to write out the perfect transition to upgrading and having new energy brought into your team, there's no better wish I could think of than what we have. So I'm super thrilled.
No, me too. Me too. I mean, Paul is going to bring some really great strength in synthesis, which is something that I don't have so well, as well as a whole bunch of other sort of more nerdy things that he and I understand and talk about ad nauseum, but that I think are going to bring some really good new things to Plugin Guru and to everybody that's watching. So exciting times, definitely.
Good times. So the announcement is Unify 2 is on track. We have Paul at the helm. We have Shane in the engine room, making sure that it's not leaking. And I get to toot the horn. So it's going to be really, really great. So thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from our group? There's a lot of people watching right now. I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask while we have these brilliant minds here, if there's any questions. How hard is it to change the UI interface? Is one question.
That's the hardest part.
It's very hard.
All you want to do is change the colors, no problem.
Yeah.
If you want to do anything more complicated than that, I think, Paul, you'll agree with me that it's about an 80-20 rule, I would think.
Yeah.
That, most plugins, about 80% of the work goes into what you see.
Yeah, it's not just what you see, but it's all the background stuff that you don't necessarily think of as a synth person, or the audio side of things. You could write the audio processing code, and it's not easy to write the audio processing code. There's still a lot of gotchas there, but then you've got patch management, background threads for displaying stuff, and you've got user interface interactions that must not interrupt the audio threads and hold things up for too long. You've got Apple Silicon. It's a lot of other things to think about, and user interface is a challenge for sure. I would say it's 60-70% of the development time that I've had on Hyperion was user interface time.
Right.
So I can imagine it's the same for Unify.
Yeah, and we have talked. Paul definitely has some ideas. So where Shane has Unify, and where Unify ends up when it's ready to release, I think there's some things that we've talked about that it doesn't look the same already, and it's gonna be modified some more. And the flow of it, the flow is important to me. That's where I get to share my opinions and experiences and so forth. But there's things we want to do to improve it. So
as a small group, as a small company, we've always concentrated more on functionality and on sound quality, and on, because John is a sound design guy, very much on sound design capabilities, because Unify is not just an instrument, it's also a platform for new libraries, and there have been so many of them since Unify came out. Also gives John a bit more protection than other platforms that he worked on in the past, where he told me one time, I'd find that people had downloaded like 5,000 copies of on torrent sites, whatever, of something that I sold, he said 60 copies of. And I mean, if he went on that way, then he'd be out of the business. So, this kind of thing is very important.
Yeah, no, the ability to have protected libraries, and I'm to this day, almost 5 years later, I don't think Unify still has a cracked version. It's one of those things where people feel it's a fair price. I've actually worked with people in Ukraine, have told me that they know the hacking teams, and they like me. So they're like, well, you don't overcharge for your libraries and you support them, so we don't want to crack you. So, which is really funny. So it's beautiful stuff. It's the other questions that we have. Tap tempo facility in the standalone. That's a good one to have on the list. We'll see what we can do. There's a whole lot of things outside of where you guys are even thinking we're going, and I'm not going to give any specifics, but you guys are going to be blown away when you see what we have, because Unify 2, it's not just a new bit of lipstick on it. It's definitely some really exciting things that don't exist anywhere else. So no pressure. Cool. Okay, let's see here. Question. What single aspect of Unify 2 excites each of you the most? Well, we're not really talking about the specifics of Unify 2 yet, so I don't think we can answer that. That would give away some of the things that we are not ready to share yet.
Thing I want to mention is that I'm actually based in California, so I'm
Yes.
kind of in the same time zone as John.
Yes.
So that's really helpful. And similarly to Shane as well. So
Yeah.
we're all easily reachable to each other. So that makes things a lot easier for collaboration.
Yes.
But the funny thing is, you know, here we are in the early 21st century where, you know, we've got people from all over the world asking questions. And here we are all together on the screen, but we're all thousands of miles apart.
Yeah.
And well, that's just the way it goes. So
it's cool. Technology allows us to work this way, really. I mean, you know, 15, 20 years ago, you couldn't imagine being able to do what we do now. So what quarter in 2025? I kind of take the, who's the team that made Doom, all the games? We ship it when it's ready. And until it's ready, we're not going to put a date. I don't have shareholders pressuring me. And so we're not ready to say when, but hopefully in the first half of 2025 for sure, is our goal. But, you know, once software is one of those things that you think is going to take this long, and then you like triple the time that you thought it was going to take in a lot of cases. So we're not putting, I have ideas for another 30 libraries easily, if hundreds of libraries. I never run out of ideas. I look on Facebook Marketplace, I see something cool that I haven't seen or played before, and there go on a new tangent. And so we're not going to put dates. It will have multiple outputs for sure. It's going to have input, so you can be able to record a microphone, run a microphone into it. Those are some of the basic things we've talked about, but we're not going to go too far beyond that right now. Okay. Any idea of great price? No, we're not. We have to have a product before we can talk price, and we're not there. So, yeah. So it will be ready when it's ready. Thank you, Daniel. That's right. It'll be ready when it's ready, and we'll know when it's ready, and you'll know when it's ready, because I'm very bad at keeping my mouth shut. So I'm not known for keeping secrets. In fact, I've learned a lot in the last 4 years that, you know, if it was just me here, I would already show you the interface and everything Shane has done so far. But I've learned you don't do that, because it's going to change, and we want to make it a surprise and a you know, Spectrasonics has really led the charge of being we'll show it to you when you can have it. Like, to show it to you now and say, oh, it's going to come out maybe, you know, sometime next year. That means for 4 or 5 months, you guys are just, I wish that feature. So when you can have it, we'll show it. Until then, I got to keep my mouth shut. So, all right. Anything else to add, you guys?
So the only thing is, I can give one answer to the question about what excites me the most about Unify 2 without giving away specific features or whatever, is I know from having worked from John, my brother from another mother, and one of the most talented music guys of any kind I've ever known, that you're going to be blown to pieces by all the cool things that he's going to do with it. That's the reason to do it. So that's what excites me most about Unify 2.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And I will say there's features that I have nothing to do with in Unify 2 that we've been testing and stuff that are very exciting. So it's going to be lots of levels of taking the game up a notch or 2 or 3 or 4. So
hope so.
Yeah, that's the goal. All right. And all libraries will still work. Yes. The compatibility with everything we've done so far is very important, of course. So anything you buy today for Unify 1 will work with whatever comes out in the future for sure. Seth, that will work for sure. All right, my brothers. Thank you for your time. There'll be more news and stuff coming up as we develop and work on this. So thank you.
Onward and upward.
Onward and upward.
Okay.
Okay.
See you later.
See you guys later. Bye. Okay. Bye. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. That was beautiful. So that's the exciting announcement is Paul Carter is now working with us on Unify 2. And we have just, it's so tempting to tell you, but I can't. So we're going to change gears. We have 2 libraries in the works. I'm going to show you the library that's coming out next week, and I'm going to tease you for a minute with the library that's coming out in 2 weeks that I'm working on. But next week, we have an incredible library called Electric Dreams. The irony of I having an Electric Dreams library out of... But Fred Nongat in France was working on a library also called Electric Dreams, but of a different sort. His is a little more of a Frank Herbert-inspired dystopian Electric Dreams. He's also working with the GX80. This is a plugin library that is designed for a different plugin. You will have to own, let's see, let's go over here to the Blade Runner, just to give you a taste of everything. This is one of the multis. There's incredible samples all over the place. All of the samples were made with AI. So and if you click on the images, there's artwork for everything. Crazy, beautiful stuff.
我叫阿海，你叫什么名字？接近，不要害怕。你害怕快乐吗？
This is one patch.
你也有想要离开地球的孩子吗？
听听我们的意见，今天就做出决定。光芒四射的未来在等着你。听听我们的意见，今天就做出决定。光芒四射的未来在等着你。
Crazy stuff. So, let's see here. If we go to like just some of the other more straight ahead things, there's all sorts of great leads. And this is again for the Cherry Audio GX80, which is a beautiful. So, 205 patches, very cool. There's cool basses, there's all these effects are samples. Oh, it's not all of them. This is GX80. Really nice. I guess it's maybe the BO. These are the all sorts of AI created.
Do you dream that you are awake? Question 4-7.6. We are done for today. Agent F45. Congratulations for still being yourself. What's it like to hold your beloved ones in your arms with an intername? Please answer the question. Please answer. please answer the question. Do you think that you are a human? Intername Agent F45.N ON-69GA.
These are all voices.
Are you ready to start your identity test?
That Fred generated.
Within name, intername.
Giving them the names to say and sound effects. I don't think the samples are from any existing source, no. Fresh stuff. So this will come out next Thursday. There's streets, cool machines. There's Lost LA. We'll do a full walkthrough, of course, of the library. Just really beautifully creative, Fred kind of stuff, you know? I mean, the artwork matches just the vibe of the dystopian worlds that he's picturing when he makes these sounds. So you have to own the GX80. That's from Cherry Audio. They are AI. There's no recordings. the voices and everything. There's voices. There's so much. It's all generated. Anything that's a sample, Fred generated without using a microphone himself. He would process them and do whatever magic he did to make these. Japanese street shop.
非常に繊細な作業のため、何かお手伝いしましょうか。レプリカントを見たことがありますか？
ありますか？
遊んでもいいですか？あなたの蛇はとても美しいですね。
Good to see you, my friend.
レプリカントを見たことがあり。
Here's Mars Radio Station.
Dance, baby, dance. Super party time. Dance, baby, dance. Back very quickly after this publicity offered by the Marsian Ministry of
So you
Health.
can
Music,
put these into your tracks?
only music, and music again. Crazy about music.
You are about to have your old true memory restored. Please try to recall your true identity.
Even whispers, wow.
If you refuse to come back to yourself, in fact, I regret to tell you that you will die. You hold the key to change everything.
Wow.
Welcome back. We've been waiting for you. Trust only your instincts. Get ready for a surprise. You are not on Mars now. You are in a lab, deeply unconscious.
Wow.
You are about to have your old true memory restored. Is this a dream or a reality?
Good question.
Do you really think that I am a bad guy? Please, stop all this. The longer you stay in this illusion, the more you will suffer.
Wow. Okay, so dystopian, cool sounds. These basses are just insane. And of course, there's all sorts of real-time knobs. My mouse locked up again. So frustrating. I have to unplug it and replug it like 50 times a day. And because the GS80 has two elements, you can... So you could automate all these parameters into your tracks to give it motion and all sorts of really cool things. really cool library. I'm producing patches 80, but there's also a lot of patches for Unify with samples. So all the patches will be coming in native GX80 format if you don't own Unify. So the patches will work inside of the GX80. All this other incredible deep dive of custom patches for every patch. Every patch, if you go into the library, if you reveal the library and you go up to the library folder and you look in media, you will find there's 205 patches. There's 262 images. So he made more images than he made patches. So you're getting a complete museum of incredible artwork describing all these things that you're going to be hearing in these patches. He's upped the game so far on all the graphic, visual, audio connection. Fred's on a whole different level. It's really, really beautiful. So this is all part of the library, and it can all be yours next Thursday. So make sure you have the GX80. We'll send an announcement through email and social and all that stuff when it's available. It's really, really a beautiful library. So really, 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 really great. Yeah. Yes. Fred hasn't even shared with me his sources that he's working with. So it takes a lot of work to know all the different, there's so many companies investing in AI. So he's got some stuff that's very, very cool. Okay. So that's one library. There is another library in the works that I have been working on. This last week has been incredibly productive. I'll give you just a real quick story. So I was working on Electric Dreams, my version of Electric Dreams, and I did the drum kits, right? And in recording those samples, I was talking about bringing out more drums in December. My tinnitus has started to come back just a little bit. The drums are just one of those things that what they are, the transients, how hard they hit. Even with earplugs, I've maybe had the playback a little bit too loud with my earplugs. I'm not sure. But I kind of decided that for December, plus it's December, I wanted to go in an opposite direction. So the opposite of drums and all that kind of in-your-face stuff, I wanted to try to make the most beautiful, pure sounds I could make. And so I made a whole bunch first in synthesis, and then in the last couple of days, I have recorded my meditation bowls. These I bought last year. It's the most beautiful, pure tone. You can excite this sound with this rubber knob. And I can make it so loud it distorts the microphone. It's insane. See, it's distorting the microphone. So I decided to make a library I'm calling Purity. And so let me show you just a little bit of Purity, and then we'll play with it more after I show you the other plugins and free plugins and stuff that are coming out. But I recorded the meditation bell. I'm going to rename it bowl because it's a bowl. It's not a bell. So I got my name wrong. So I'll fix that. There's some other synthesizers. I spent a lot of time with Chromophone from AAS, Applied Acoustic Systems, to record. A really beautiful, pure kind of, it's sharp transients. Yeah, it's messing up my ears a little bit. The ballerina. So I'm trying to make like instruments that don't exist, but they play like you're playing an instrument. So and this is one where there's a soft, medium, and hard, and then you're going between them. I played with some other pads, plugins. One that I really like that I felt hadn't really been explored is another one of Cherry Audio's, their Dream Synth. So I recorded this from the Dream Synth. Which, if you then bring up the reverb, and then I have a shimmer delay that I made using Chow Matrix going into Waterverb. So, this is really beautiful. All looped. I looped them all already. I was gonna have Taylor help me, and then I just was like, I'll loop them. So I looped everything. Then another synth that I have loved since years and years is Zebra 2. And so I use Zebra 2 to record things like this. And then I have the mod wheel. To go between a simple dystopian Stark. It's actually Zebra 2 HZ. I wanted to use the filter that's from Diva. So there's that. There's a really, really beautiful harp that I created in Chromophone. And then I processed this with some of my granular processing. So it keeps dancing and doing nice things. And then the star of the show is the actual meditation bell itself. So I did these awaken patches. Let me play this one first. If I play the original tone, it's A. So if I play that on the keyboard, and then I got lucky, I got this guy to squeak a little. So it has that squeak in it. There's no loops. It's like 20 seconds. But then I also have a looped version. But what's really cool, check this out. You can play this, even though it's one sample. This is the power of samplers, is that one sample, the computer can calculate how fast or how slow to play back that recording so that it plays to the different possible pitches. So an octave lower is half as fast. Octave up is twice as fast. But with this motion and stuff, it seemed to work. And then add a little magic sauce with reverb. And you have like the most beautiful sounds I think I've ever made. And it's pure. It's got that pure, just like you can see through it. It's very translucent. Now the loop is actually starting later in the sample. Here, let me show you the samples. It's kind of fun. So if I hide this and we go over here, we go to Unify. Let me show you the samples. So we go to libraries. This is purity in its work form, which means they're WAV files. They haven't been encrypted or anything yet. So if we go to the samples, here they are. So let's go to the rubs 1. Oh, this is the loop. So wait, hold on a second here. We don't want to see that yet. Here's the full length. Make sure you can hear this. So this is the original recording. It's 40 seconds long. No loop. But then I also, see how I kind of would let it get excited a little bit and then let it calm down. Come back up, right? For the loop version, if we go here to the loop, I just took an area where it has the same basic energy and then looped it inside of the free best looping on the planet in Endless Wave. If we take a look at this in here, we can go here, and if I drag this over, you'll see the loop points. I actually have it play a little bit of the original before it starts to sample loop and endpoints. And when you play it inside a Unify, it sounds like this. So now when I call it the loop, and it just does this forever. So this guy's hand's gonna fall off. But you can play them all. It's beautiful. You can do things where you like no filter to start with, so you don't hear the buzz. Put up some reverb. If you want to make the attack longer and slower, and then you can bring that in when you want. So really nice. I'll show you more. I actually want to make, well, the other thing I did, here's the individual hits. I used 4 different mallets to play the bell. And there's actually a 5th one I might do, so you might get some more. But there's 4 or 5 round robins for each of these. So, and again, if you look at the samples, this is a library where I'm just going to let it ring out. And so if you go to the hits, version 1 hit, oh, click in the wrong place, 24 seconds long. So if you go over to Unify and you say, let's see, no filters, and I want sustain at the max and no velocity, so just get the recording, this will play for 24 seconds. And it's got that beautiful, slightly motion to it. And then the round robin means it's different samples based on when each time you play a note. Normally with these types of bowls, you just hit it once. It's not about banging it. So that's the library. I'll show you more. We might make some bonus patches if there's extra time. But let's look at new plugins, okay? Because there's a really cool new FM synth from our friends at ToyBox. We can actually use this map because none of this stuff is currently active in it. So let's go over here to FM Zone. Get ready for some orange to hit the screen. It's orange. And let's close this. Let's close this. This is an interesting, and we can turn on and off the keyboard. And if I go like this, and if I get over here to show MIDI, so we have a keyboard underneath it that's kind of tucked away. All right. This is a 4-operator, I believe, synthesizer. There's an online unofficial manual that David, the person behind ToyBox, his name is David. He's in the UK. He might be watching. I don't know. Are you watching, David? There's ToyBox. He's here. Yay. So this is his product. This is his baby. So the cool thing with this engine is that there is a sample engine on the right. There is a synth engine on the left. Here's where you have the different algorithms to choose from and the parameters. The thing with for those of you that don't know, I put a link in the video description already to ToyBox, toyboxaudio.com. I highly recommend all of you to go there, check everything he has out. For one thing, if you go down here to, is my mouse locking up again? See? This is like the 4th time I've had to lock my mouse up. If you go to plugins, he has sample packs, reactor packs, which you should check out if you have those. There is a free synth that we showed, gosh, about a year ago. And then there's Buzz Zone. Oh, is Fred? Gotta go. Okay, Fred. Thank you so much, man. Good to see you. Buzz Zone is a synth that he did that's more subtractive synth. FM Zone is another. As you can see, they all have basically the same interface. So you can play with Thump 1, which if we come over here and we say, give me Thump 1 for a second. THU. There's only one Thump 1 out of a 700 plugins, so that's good to know. The interface that he has is rather interesting in that usually with a synth, you have one envelope for filter, one envelope for the volume of the overall patch. Here, everywhere you see a little triangle, you can click that, and there's an envelope above for that parameter. So by using this, you can really cool. And if you want to change something, you're just clicking, I'm changing the envelope. This is the level for this part of the sound. Then there's a level for this part of the sound. So if I click this triangle, I could have this and go from soft. Let's have it go back down to 0. And if I double click, I can add a point so I can do. And then go back to this one and have it like hit really hard at the start. And have it fade out. And I can choose. So you have envelopes for every parameter for all sorts of things. So it gets into a whole different kind of more flexible way. So Thump 1, this is free. All of these patches are free. So if you don't have it, get it. Now, when we go over here to FM Zone, he's taken that interface, that concept, and developed it into a lot more, because now there's not only a synthesis part, but there's also a sample part. There's all of these different supersaws and synth hits and attacks, all sorts of really clever things that you can use with FM to get all sorts of cool different things. Oh, my mouse locked up again. I thought this was really cool. This resonance is great. And I think the speed is an overall speed of this envelope. So if you speed it up, kind of like a global decay rate, which is cool. And if this is in Unify, all I have to do is say duplicate this one layer and take this one down an octave and pan it left and right, and off you go. So it's very, very fun to get into all sorts of cool sonic trouble. Oh, I'm still panned, so I gotta go over here and double click the pan. Cool basses, drums, hits, effects, tons of programs. So for this to be available, and check this out, it's not going to set you back much more than a really nice lunch. If you go to FM Zone, it's available right now for $32 instead of $64. So it's half off. So if you want to play with something fun and orange that makes some really cool sounds, this would definitely be your go-to for that kind of thing. And if you want, you can change the algorithm. I kind of wish there was somewhere where it popped up and it would give you like a text value or display of what this is. So instead of S1, S2, it would say it was like this is this, this is that. The other thing that's a little confusing to me, you have one triangle now, but now you have spectrum and you have algorithm both. They both affect spectrum, but it's confusing it just a little sometimes. Because I think this is changing only the top row of parameters. Double click to add more. But it doesn't change the algorithm. So these parameters, I can't program that, I don't think, to do that, because it's doing shapes. So if I come over here and I have this, like, double click, it's doing shapes. It's raising this value, but so anyway, it's a very cool idea. I wish I just had a little bit more envelopes to play with for specific things. I haven't read the manual, so some of this might be possible. Also on top of this, there's effects. And you can click here to choose all sorts of flangers, phasers, chorus. So there's effects in this, which there was not in Thump 1. There's width, so you got really wide stereo. Really, really cool. So that is FM Zone. Let me see if there's any questions from you guys. If you hit the pencil icon, FM operators. I see. Oh, there you go. Okay, thank you. If you hit the pencil, now you can see the configuration of the operators and how they're configured. So you can see the algorithm as you would see it like on a DX7 over here, but you also see it in how they set it up here. Right, that makes sense. When you get 3 FM sources on top of each other, that's the sound you get. And if you get more to the flatter tones where everybody's going to an output like this. Good to know. That pencil's very helpful. It's a nice clean layout. Yeah, he's got a really cool thing going on with his plugins. Settings are over here, by the way. These are also saved per patch. The menus on the right of the pencil will select a preset FM sound and I see right here. The arrows to the right. So you can choose. Right. I kind of messed things up here so far. But it's got that great, but it's super clean too. Hi, Wrench. Really, really, really clean. And then if you go, there we go. So you can call up different presets. Wow. So you have the ability then to modify these once you use it. Great. So I'm going to start with this and click this triangle and say start high and then come down really fast. And this becomes your envelope sustain point. So this resting point is based on where your knob is. Click to change right and change right. So the settings, I should point out, there's some really nice things in here, including the bit depth, which you can take down from 64-bit if you want super, super clean to 2-bit. And on some of these sounds, it just gets... It just gets really nice and... Go to the FM bass like this. So you can get that really dirty 2-bit versus super clean. You've got some settings here for where the algorithms are in stereo, velocity controls to the mod wheel. Great stuff. So super cool plugin. Great opening price if you guys want to get into. Let's go and call some pads. Pads. So this is combining a sample of choir with the FM. Very, very cool. So, good stuff. So, check that out. There's a link in the video description. I can actually pop it up here into the chat as well. FM Zone is right here. If you want more information, go right here. Good to see you're here, Toby. Yeah, you guys missed the big announcement, just to summarize, is Paul Carter. Well, an opportunity came up for Shane, and Shane is now working full-time in a management role outside of the music industry, and has been working, we've been working behind the scenes on this to do a very beautiful organic crossfade to having Paul Carter, who is behind a plugin called Hyperion. He is now working on the code for Unify 2. We will be at the NAMM show for a day walking around on Friday, but the big thing is we'll be sharing a table at Buchla and Friends in Los Angeles for Saturday and Sunday of the NAMM show. The NAMM show, it's kind of lost some of its glamour lately because it's become so expensive. It's really hard to get into the show. So we'll be showing at the Buchla and Friends. It's free to attend. There'll be you can get free tickets off Eventbrite for it, stuff like that. Okay, I'm just going to say, Daniela, please, let's not talk about your library. Your library is not coming out for a year, I believe. So let's stay focused on where we are in the live stream, please. Thank you. Really cool, interesting sounds for sure. Okay, so I have 2 free plugins that I have found that I didn't remember that I wanted to share with you. So let's go over to Titan 303. This is TB303 and really cool dance grooves and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go over here to a groove like Atypical. And let's also do this. Let's go to Rad Bad Beats. This is also to recycle drum loops and stuff. Put Unify into Unify layer mode so we can just add new things to it. All right, we got a cool groove. We're gonna call it Squash. This is from Minimal Audio. And it's radical. It's like OTT. Right? So you can squash. So that is right here, Minimal Audio Squash. This is a free plugin and it's automatable, as you can see, to change things around and move it in really cool, creative ways. That's in the video. I think I have to put that into the video description. I haven't put it in the video description, but Squash. And then there's another free plugin that just came out that I saw this morning on Instagram, called Subtle Spaces, from a company I haven't heard of before called Fine Classic Plugins. It's like, okay, I've never heard of you before, but you're Fine Classic. It's an interesting name. It's like in 5 years, maybe they'll be Fine Classic things. Here's the link for this. This is Subtle Spaces. So for this one, let's go a little bit different direction. Let's go to the drum grooves. Let's use Make a Magic Guitar. This is where I played the bass guitar to make drum sounds. So we have, oh wait, let's say starting from scratch. So we can go over here and say, wait, not instrument one only, normal. There. And let's take down the reverb that we have here inside of Unify. And let's go over here and say subtle spaces. And it gives you all sorts of different rooms. I'm not going to spend a lot of time with this because it does have quite a few different rooms. There is no time adjustment. There's no way to like shorten it or expand it or something like that. It's just a convolution preset player. It is nice. It has a pre-delay, so you can do that kind of thing if you want. Now, what's fun? Let's do this. Let's go over here to Electric Dreams, to the drum grooves, right? The drums are recorded here in the entryway behind me. Let's say instrument one only, and let's add something like an 8-beat. And let's add Road Trip. What's going on here? That's not quite right. We want Road Trip. There we go. Let's tune it up. Okay, let's put Squash after the room reverb in this drum groove, right? Let's cue you in. This is where it gets fun because this brings up all sorts of stuff that you didn't know was there. Be really radical. Then bring it down just a little bit to emphasize the higher frequencies. Here's without it. So if we go over here. Oh wait, it's right here. So Squash is really useful for bringing out frequencies and stuff that you didn't even know were in the mix that you could play with and work with. So if you want to have it just stand a little bit more above the mix, like that, and I can say Unify layer. I can go down here to the drum guitars. Let's say like Vince Hands Amp. That's going through the Squash too. So you might want to make it like a channel strip or something like an auxiliary bus, so you can have other sounds not being squashed. But those two free plugins, I'll put them in the video description. Here's the Fine Classics plugin, the link. I'm only censoring you, Da Vinci, because you're talking about things not related to anything happening here. And I don't want to remove you from the chat. I wish you would join our chat and talk with what we're talking about. But if you can't, I'm just not going to let you. This has nothing to do with the Unified GUI. So it's very frustrating to look over at the chat and have it like being off in Atmos and all. You don't respect us, so it's unfortunate. It's distracting, yeah. So I'm going to mute DaVinci for the rest of the day. Time out for... So I'm sorry, but it's distracting to everybody in the chat. So you're... I don't like censoring anybody. It's not my desire at all. It's just, it has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And it's always never nothing about what we're talking about. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let that continue. It's just, it's not professional. It's not respectful. This isn't your show. So thank you guys for your support. It's a shame. I mean, I really like their support. They've talked to a lot of people and they love Unify and what it can do. But I can't let that just continue. So about Unify and plugins. Yeah. So there's one thing I wanted to show you guys that might be helpful before we end. There's something inside of Purity with the bowls. As you can see, I have things called noise loops. So let me show you some of the other, talk about going from like over the top compressors and stuff like that. Here's some of the other meditation bowls that I played. This is using this to start instead of the rubber. If you use this on the rim, let's see if I gotta hold it like this. You can, but I started really soft, right? So, playing it like that is a very different vibe. If you remember, the first one is with the ball, and I actually hit first, and then I let it excite, so that... When we get to these other ones, like number 3, let me play A. Purity will be out... Let me look at my calendar. Let's see here. Oh, my mouse is... Oh, it's very frustrating. Happy holiday. Let's see here. It will be out on the 19th. Next week on the 12th is when we were going to release Electric Dreams for the GX80. Yeah, well, I have a 4K monitor and I have a high def monitor that I use for, like, you guys see the 4K monitor on the left. On the right is the monitor where I've got OBS and everything. And for some reason, when I'm going between the two, it causes the mouse to have to like change. Things have to change resolution. You see it kind of like doing this, like expanding. I think the key is Santa is going to get me a single curved, really big monitor for Christmas. Because I've had this problem ongoing for a while, and it just seems like it's recently gotten worse. And it's very frustrating. No, I use, so this... I dealt with carpal tunnel 30 years ago in Los Angeles. I had severe, I was using trackballs. If you use trackballs, you're at risk of really messing up your wrists. I had acupuncture from a Chinese doctor that was incredible. And I've never had any carpal tunnel issues since. Strong, super strong. But I use the same Microsoft mouse for 30 years now. And I have like 6 of them I've bought. I buy them off eBay so that I make sure I have them. This shape fits my hand. It's a wired mouse. I hate the latency. And if you're using wireless, it doesn't move until you move a certain amount and then it jumps. And I just want, I'm live connected to the computer with this mouse because it's a wire. So I'm just weird. I've done this for so long that I'm used to my, I don't, if I try to use a different mouse, it's a different shape and it hurts my wrists. So I have just the Microsoft mouse is all I use. 2 buttons and the scrolling is all it has. Yes, singing bowls are coming. So I've recorded my big white A440 for this. I have also a B, which I'll be recording this week. which is B. And then I have an E coming. E will be here on Monday. So I'll have 3 different pitches. And there will be menus where you can only play the original samples for those of you that want to have just the samples for the fundamental tones. But anyway, for example, like 3, I play. Now the loop is once it gets going and it has pitch. And again, give it a slow attack. A little reverb, it's just beautiful. But it has this like motion to it. If you combine this with other things like, well, let's add like just Love Bomb to this. It's just beautiful. If you add like the silver bells on top of that. So there'll be all sorts of cool things. I've made a couple bonus patches. Let me show you really quick. This is really cool. Yesterday in my mind. This is using trigger boxes. So instead of playing all the time, I have it just playing 50% of the time. Whereas if I had this 100%, just hitting you over the head all the time. Right? So take it to 50% or so, that limits it to not be just machine gunning your head. Right? Time to Let Go is just one of the patches, but with nice enveloping and really very, very subtle and kind of sad. It's kind of funny. I made this patch on the day one of my dear friends in Mexico lost her mom. And I don't even know if there's a connection, but it seems like there could have been a connection somehow. So Purity will be out on the 19th. I can't tell you the price yet. I'm still working out what I want to ask for this. It's a lot of work. But I make it fair, you guys know. Good stuff. Yeah, this is a nice patch. How do you get that purple color with trigger box? No, that's existing trigger box. If you call up let's call up a bell. This is one where it's round robining between all of them. So let's call up a blue ARP, and then I get to do is go over here and say random to everything, but let's have every now and then have it be off so it's not machine gunning. Right? After your sequencing MIDI effect, whatever you choose, there's all sorts of MIDI effects that can do note generation. Go over here to Creative to Trigger Box, and it's purple. It's always been purple. This is the same color it was the day we released it. Bring down the probability. And now it's only letting 13% of the notes through. So you do that, and then you add something like Purity as another layer. But see how it's set to N, whereas all these guys are set to M1? That means it's not listening to the MIDI controller up here that's controlling these 4 layers to randomly choose between different layers. And I need to change, oh, you know what? I got to put polybox after this so that I can now do the random choosing between the 4 different layers. And I need to go to reverb, and I need to say duplicate this to 1, duplicate again. So that way they're all following the same reverb sends. And let's go over here to trigger box and up the probability a little bit. Let's turn these hard. 2 of the hits are a little bit harder hits. And then let's put a pump house after the pads. So go Unify standard dynamic pump house. And let's go to the presets, sawdown variations. Actually, let's go to the, if you bought Rad Waves, you get these bonus really cool presets. Let's go over here to delay, add a delay to this. And let's go to power curve for a little distortion in the delay. A little bit of chorus. And then I'm gonna add another delay after that that's really, really long and slow. So let's take this in here to be like duplets for quarter note and 8th note duplets. And let's say high pass filter for this one. Now on top of this, we should have a little bit more glue. I want some glue. So let's go over here to, I haven't shown you the solitary, but this is an incredible zebra patch I sampled. There you go. We'll call it ZBPM Bell, actually pad. So you play it like a pad. It's called Magic in the Air. Isn't that nice? So, I have a question for you. Tell me what you think. So, let me show you the 2 different versions of Solitary. Solitary Darkly is the dark version of this pad from Zebra 2 HZ. And it grows, and then I looped it. A little loud. Because what's fun with this is you can open up Guru Sampler and you can do the sample start later if you want to be just in the more energy. But I didn't loop this one because it's currently a crescendo. So it goes. But I should loop it right there, right? So that way you'd have more to play with than this. Although this is really cool. The crescendo, I can program in crescendo to do this type of thing, right? But I should loop this. I haven't looped it yet, but I want to loop it. Because I want us to be able to get that right synth sound and play with it, right? So it should be looped, right? Yeah. So okay. So I have my work. I gotta loop that. Here, let's loop one of the samples so you can see how we use the tools. So let's go over Unify, We'll go just a few minutes late. Just a few minutes late. Not too late, right? Let's go over here to Purity. Samples. And this is in the samples folder in Solitary. It's currently called Bright. You know what I'm going to do? Well, I'm going to back this up first. So I'm going to go over here and go Solitary, Compress. So I have a backup because I might give you guys both. We'll see. It's just, you know, memory is cheap these days, right? And we like to have lots of samples. It's not that much to have the crescendo, but the crescendo is really cool to have it. Yeah, the Bright has this very cool cinematic, and I like it going down, and Zebra's filters are just incredible, right? But let's do this. Let's see if we can take one of the crescendo Brights. Let's put this over into Endless Wave. This is from Bjorn Bar. It's a free sample looping program. I might have to go back and actually just resample this where I don't have the envelopes in Zebra doing this. But let's see if I can do this. So let me make sure you can see this. Do you see that? Yep, you hear it. So right in here, just before it starts to go down, I'm going to hold down Shift and you click and drag, and that's all you have to do for it to create the points. There's different crossfades. I'm going to use the kind of their special signature one, and then you just click and drag here to choose a crossfade. And I'm going to do a 100% crossfade. So yeah. So all I have to do is say Command Shift in, and it says, do you want to save the file? I say, yeah, and it goes to the next one. Oh, wait, no. If it clips, it will tell you, which is really, really helpful. Don't save. So let's go previous, go again, because I don't want it to clip. So go like this, go 100%. They actually have a really cool thing in here, right here. Auto adjust loop start and end. It's a quick keys. Command Shift S. If you hit these, it will analyze and find the best place it thinks it should loop. But of course, it's clipping. So it's, yeah, it's not the best place because the place it wants to loop is clipping. So the interface turns a little pink if it's clipping. So go like that. Let's maybe have this be a little bit later, like here. And then 100%. That's great. Command Shift in, save. And you go to the next one. And I got to do this for 20 other samples because there's 21 samples in these maps. Yeah, Hyperion is insane. If you guys haven't checked out Hyperion, just get ready for a serious bit of brain work because it's powerful, flexible. It looks good. It sounds good. So this is how I basically would loop. So let's say we do this really quick. I'm just going to do this without even comparing really close because now that I know where I want the loop, it just does it. This program is just unbelievable. For it to be free and do crossfade loops that are so seamless. So I put in the auto, so it's going to try to find, give it 100%. Stop. I'm not Command Shift S thing anymore, but it still thinks I am for some. This is my mouse. And then 100%. Next. So I'll show you how we do this. I might have to go back and do some of these again, but I just want to show you how we do this. So Command Shift in. Go like this. Crossfade. Command Shift in. As long as I'm not distorting. Somewhere in this point about that size. So I'll do it to all 21 really quick. And I'll show you what we do next, because these loops, I'd made the maps ahead of time, right? and they didn't have these updated loops. So I need to update them. I'll show you how to update them with Bjorn's free sample mapper program. So let's see, maybe a little bit more to this side and like this. I love that it lets you see the waveform so you can see. Just screaming. I just want it to be that screaming, bright, present sound. So we got. Usually I'm playing each one of these and being more scrupulous, but I want to do this in the live stream and show you. So we're on E flat. We're halfway there. So we're halfway there. I love that you can just hold down Shift to get your sample loop and start and stop. And like that. This is E flat 6, so this is the last of the E flats. Now we have the G's, and we're done. So we go G, get the crossfade, 100%. Usually I don't do 100% crossfade, but for something like this, since there's amplitude and timbre that is changing over time, I'm just doing this so that it crossfades 100%, so it keeps it equal in energy the whole way. You don't hear any drop because I want to just freeze that huge, bright, open, mammoth sound. So by doing this, and each time I hit a key, it makes my singing bowls play. It's kind of fun. Let's see. Okay, when you get to this and you see that it's back to showing you loops, that's from the Darkly version, which I looped already. It's done. So now all I need to do is go into this map. Let's see, let's have this go away. We need to go to the SFZs for this, right? So go one more level, please. Show me one more level. And here is the solitary crescendo bright. It's no longer crescendo bright, so I'm gonna have to rename that, but that's something I can do later. So I drag this over Bjorn's sample mapper, and it will open up sample mapper, and there's all the samples. So you can see that I have the whole keyboard. There's this button on the right that says load, that when you click this, it will let you update settings. So you can update the sample in, loop, start, loop in. I didn't change the sample start. It starts at the very beginning. So I just say update, and then I go save. Done. All you have to do, and now when I go over here and I call out solitary bright, and let's get rid of crescendo because that's not the name anymore. Just call it solitary bright. Now when I play it, there it is. And it's going to stay there. Huge. So that means you can go to the sample start in Guru Sampler, and if you move this later, make big things like that now because it doesn't fade back down. So that's how you do sample editing in a real fast. Instead of it now going up and down, I just have it going up. I didn't touch the beginning. The first half is magic. I love the grow. I love that. Isn't that great? Like if we go over here to chorus station, and let's get the release to be a little bit longer. And now chorus station, this is the BBC Symphony Orchestra. Let's go to the strings and let's go to BPM strings and get like Modern Warrior added to this. So we're gonna add for the cinematic kind of vibe and stuff like that. It'll take a second to load samples, but now let's do this. So let's put a high pass filter on this. We don't need quite that much low end on this. So we'll go EQ, filter max, high pass. Stop it about right there. So now we have our cinematic adventure. Let's say, let's go like competing edge, just the strings. Maybe a little slower, it's a little fast. Then we can go over here. Let's go to, just for fun, I'm curious if this works. Go, we can drum. Now this is one where the strings, Spitfire Audio strings, they like to put this air at the beginning of the note. So you notice it's not in time. Inside a MIDI box, we have this little bar up here that will allow you to shift the playback timing of the MIDI file. We did this on purpose because of this thing that Spitfire Audio does with their strings, because they don't make it so they play in time. So you can advance everything like minus 73 milliseconds for each of the two layers here. Let's say 73. And now, you got to do them one at a time layer-wise because they're... About 57. Over here, 57. There. Pan left and right. So it all works together. Now let's go to our big synth part. Say 16th notes. There you go. So you can adjust the timing in MIDI box if something is off, or else if you want to like get it to be a little bit ahead of time. If you're doing components where you have kick and snare on separate layers, you could adjust snare elements to just be before the clock or be even later if you want to really be laid back. That's what this knob right here. This is the lead lag knob inside of MIDI box. Okay, so fun stuff. We're combining 3 libraries. And there's so many places you could take this. You could filter the strings so they're really dark. Like if we were to put like a really cool, really quick, then we'll go. But low pass filter. Find the right place where they stick out a little bit, but don't take over. Fun stuff. Now, if you want to really have fun, go to Titan 303. This is why the libraries work together so well. Let's say we go BPM drums. Let's get a kick, hi-hats, and snare, and turn them down a little bit because it's going to be really loud. That will turn the whole thing down. Go over here to Rad Bad Beats and get a really cool drum groove from the RX stuff. Get Pop Stopper and Holy Roller. So there you go. And then what you do, that's cool, but I don't quite need all this stuff, so I can go to the high pass filter, get rid of the low end, right? So the other kicks and stuff can stick through. There you go. Maybe let's turn up the first pad. And you notice how the first pad, it grows, right? I don't want quite so much growth, so I'm going to give it an envelope. I'm going to move the sample start later so that it starts sooner. A little more body shine through. Brighter. So, it's a lot going on. Anyway, we'll stop. I'm almost 30 minutes over. I haven't been over in a while, but you know, you guys are worth it. So, how to make quickly a good Unify patch? Yeah, just you know, when you're starting to get into complex layering, you just want to make sure stuff's not stepping in each other's footprints. So solo and listen. This is kind of taking up all the bandwidth, right? That's like, okay, that's okay. Do I have jitterbox? I do. Let's see. And what's you doing? Let me see one thing here real quick. Yeah, our clock is working, right? Let's see here. Oh, the pizzicatos don't have so much latency because it's pizzicato. Duh. There, that's better. I had them compensating like the boat. The boat strings definitely have a good... Oh, what's going on here? Oh, anyway, I could get lost. We could try to fix it, but a little more panning and... Yeah, it should be spread out a little bit. Anyway, good time. So I hope you enjoyed this live stream. It was very, very fun. I love doing these. Oh, we got to do our shout outs. Shout out from wherever you guys are at. Everything in question of balance, volumes, and dynamics. MTC, right on. That's the challenge. That's why you need, and you know, I'm doing everything in the box. If you get everything to separate outputs, Unify 2 is going to be beautiful. Can't wait. What about scaling the UI? Is that tough? Most of the software are huge these days, and so I'm frustrated. You'll have to talk to the companies. Each company's different for UI scaling and stuff like that. Do you know any good sound preset experts? I have a couple referrals. Email us, we'll help you out, you know. Shout out from Scotland. Look at that. Hampton. I love this because you guys are all over the world, and here we are all together hanging out. Shout out from Kenmore, Washington. Right on, Andrew. Just if you want to recreate this, have these libraries and just follow the steps and pause. I'm playing Bloom Tower Defense 6, and I have to pause. There's YouTube videos showing how to beat certain levels and maps and stuff. You just pause, and it's the same thing, man. It's a game, and so just pause and do what I'm doing, and you'll get the same thing. Kasaka-san, arigatou gozaimashita. Domo arigatou gozaimashita. Otsukari-sama deshita. Atsui desu ka? I still remember a handful of Japanese questions and phrases. Namui. My favorite Japanese word is tonda, because we'd be working on a synth and it would crash. And oh, tonda. That means crash. It means it's gone. So any sneak Unify 2.0 sneak peek hints? No hints. Sorry. Lips are sealed. I'll give you one thing. I'll tell you one thing. We have 6 or 7 different types of knobs and faders coming. Bitchin'. So cool. And even cooler than I can tell you right now. So that's just one of many things coming. It's going to be so awesome. Savannah, Georgia, Treasure Valley. Hey, Brent. Hey, you're my neighbor. We got to go get some drinks and beers and stuff like that, you know? Multi-outputs. I leaked, so multi-outputs, input, and additional knob types and stuff. But I'm not getting any more details, but we have some things that are just super fun. So you're welcome. All right. I'll see you all next week. Thank you for joining. As always, it's a pleasure to hang with all of you, and blessings. All right. See ya. Bye. Bye.